Welcome to Let's Talk, hosted by David B Plemons, CPA Inc. Here, we will focus on the struggle, the juggle, and everyday hustle of small business. We will be here weekly talking to small business owners about their everyday struggles. We welcome your questions and comments, so feel free to email us at admin@plemonscpa.com. We hope you enjoy, and above all, we hope it helps.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Zindy. Welcome.
Thank you. It is great to be here.
Excellent. Well, give us a little idea about yourself. Tell us something a little bit about you.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I am currently the director of the Women's Business Center for Lift Fund, and I've been there since September. It's been a great experience. I absolutely love what I do. I get to help women and small businesses grow and launch their ideas and turn them into reality.
Excellent, excellent. So you say you've been doing this since September. Now, how did you manage to land that role?
Well, I have actually been involved with the Lift Fund Women's Business Center for a while. I stumbled across them at a networking event back in, I believe, 2016.
Really?
Yes, and got in touch with them. I have a small business. I was trying to grow my small business at the time. I own a pet sitting business.
All right.
And found out about their wonderful programs, and I was introduced to their workshops and their free business advising services. And I took full advantage. I was probably, you might consider me an unpaid employee. I was there almost every day.
Excellent.
I attended as many workshops as I could. I got to know everyone there really well. And I really fell in love with the mission of the company.
Excellent, excellent. So you tell me that you have a pet sitting business. So you are truly a woman-owned business. What are some of the challenges that you have to deal with the juggle, hustle, and struggle of that small business?
How long do we have?
Oh, we have a while.
Oh, there were a lot of challenges. Let's see. When I first started, it was just me, and I think a lot of times I see that when we talk to our customers, they're in that beginning stage where you're not really sure if it's going to be a business. You're just kind of trying something out. It might start off as a hobby. And until you start building clientele and momentum and you start seeing, your revenue, your monthly revenue increase, you're really not sure where it's going. And I was definitely part of that group of women who kind of just jumped right in and figured it out as I went along the way. Somebody said, owning a small business is like building a bridge as you walk across it.
Oh, very nice analogy. I can agree with that, yes.
And it's very true because you don't have the background to know what your challenges are going to be, so you can't really prepare for them until you're faced with them. And then you have to really quickly learn to make decisions really quickly.
All right.
And build a good support network.
Okay.
And, I think a lot of the people I surrounded myself were part of the reason I'm still here, because there were many times along the way that I was ready to give up.
I'm sure. Give us a scenario, one of those challenging times where you had to go like, uh-oh, why did I do this? Why am I here?
Yes. So I started the company by myself, doing pet sits. Started very grassroots. I didn't acquire any customers. Everyone I acquired, it was one at a time. So I started slowly building my clientele when I started. My very first client was a previous boss I had.
Oh.
And he was a great support system for me. And when he found out I wanted to start this pet sitting business, he said, I'll be your client. And so he ended up becoming our first client. And he's still our client to this day, 5 years later. So I started by myself, and in pet sitting, you are basically visiting pets when clients are out of town, which is typically weekends and holidays. There's no Monday through Friday 9 to 5 set schedule. You are pretty much need to be available nights, evenings, weekends, middays to check on the pets, because they can only be left alone for so long. So about 2 years in, I was still doing everything by myself, and I finally got to the point where I had so many clients that there were no days off.
Ooh, so you were a 7-dayer.
Oh, yes. Now, there were gaps of time in there, but it was still a consistent work every single day.
Correct.
And about the end of that summer, there was 1 week where I did about 80 visits by myself that week.
Wow, sounds like doctor's hours, doctor's hours. Goodness.
It was a crazy week, and I looked back and I thought, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this. Something has to change.
Okay.
And I went to my boss, who was still helping me out, and I said, I don't know what to do. I'm going crazy. I'm working this many hours, and he basically said, well, you have to make a choice. Either you hire folks or you shut it down, because you're right, you can't keep going at that rate.
Exactly. So that became a struggle. When do I hire, and do I hire right now? Yeah, so explain the thought processes. I mean, how did you weigh it out to really determine, yes, now is the time? Was it that 80 visit week that made the tipping point?
That was definitely the tipping point. And he recommended that I read the book, The E-Myth. And that was such an eye-opener.
Okay.
It really resonated with the struggle and the frustration I was feeling at the time.
Okay.
And I learned that I needed to make sure I carved out time to work on the business, not just in the business.
Oh, yes. Please kind of elaborate on that, because that's a phrase that most people don't really recognize to understand the difference between working in the business and on the business.
It really changed everything for me. So once I made that mind shift of recognizing what activities I could do to work on the business, and that means everything from creating anything to improve the business. So
all right.
Figuring out how to hire employees, that's working on the business. Figuring out how to streamline our processes so that they become more efficient and we can do more with less time.
Okay.
All of those activities that I really wasn't making time for, I kept pushing because I had too many visits. All the visits that I was doing, meeting with clients, all of that was working in the business.
In the business. That was that face-to-face time.
Yes.
But the behind-the-scenes time is the working on the business.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. Yes, so that does make a distinct difference, because you can almost buy yourself a job by being that entrepreneur, only working in the business and not on the business. Good, very good, very good. So now, why did you choose to go into that particular business instead of something else like catering or IT or HR or some other service?
That's a really good question, and it's funny that you mentioned catering. At the time that I started this business, I was ready to transition into something new.
All right.
And I wasn't exactly sure what that looked like. I was ready for I knew that the industry that I was in, I was really good at my job, but I wasn't passionate about the work. So I wanted to find something I was really passionate about.
Okay.
And I loved pets. I had just that summer, I had fostered a litter of puppies.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up keeping one. They call it a foster failure.
Oh, dear.
So I knew firsthand the emotional attachment we have with our pets.
Okay.
So I knew I wanted to work with pets in some capacity.
Okay.
When I looked around at the types of roles I had been in my career, I couldn't find a company that matched the roles that I had been in and my experience and my level of knowledge with pet industry.
Right.
I couldn't find that connection. There were no companies hiring for what I did in pets, and because it was such a different industry, I came from the IT industry.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think that the knowledge would translate very well. I knew that it would be difficult. I had no connections.
Right.
It was just a whole new industry. So when I looked around and saw that there were the job that I wanted didn't exist and the company I wanted to work for didn't exist, I decided I'd create it.
Sounds like a plan. And honestly, it worked well.
I like to think so. We're up to 5 part-time employees now and 1 full-time employee.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what are some of the plans for your business now that you've kind of like gotten over that particular struggle? What's the next juggle and hustle that you may have to handle or you're encountering?
So one of the biggest recent transitions for me was really shifting out of working in the business. I really struggled with, not that I couldn't do it, but it was more a mental shift of the guilt of not working in the business as much anymore. I really struggled with letting go because I feared that my team would not, I guess it was more of me not wanting to let the team down because I didn't have the time to be doing the pet sits with them.
Right.
But that's not the case. My team's been really supportive. We work as a team, and everything's been working really well. I now work more on pretty much only on the business, and I help set the strategic direction for the company and the guidance of where we're going and helping make certain decisions. But all of the work leading up to that really helped sustain the company because we have really solid systems in place that I was able to really pull myself out of it and just do very high-level thinking, and the company's able to continue to run without me there day to day.
That's excellent. So you basically evolved from an employee owner to now an actual owner where you are literally, like you say, working on the business. So you're setting the vision, you're setting the path strategically to get from point A to point B now. And now you have a team that's helping execute that.
Exactly.
Oh, so now how did Lift Fund, when you were going through all the classes and the workshops, really help you with that? Did it enlighten you and broaden you?
They did. Having that support network was such a key point in transition. At the moment when I came across the support services at Lift Fund, I was transitioning. I had recently hired employees, and I was really I was struggling with figuring out how to make it all work, going from just me and then having a team and how we would work together. And the biggest help, I think, was I participated in something called the Women's Business Accelerator program, and I could tell it's a 9-week program that Lift Fund offers. And you take a series of workshops and everything from marketing and accounting. You guys are familiar because you're part of that. But going through, being with a cohort of other women entrepreneurs and knowing that they struggle with the same things. And knowing that there were so many people there who were willing to support us and let us know that it's not that we're doing it wrong. Everybody struggles, and we just needed some new tools to help us succeed. But there was a very dramatic shift in my thinking and in my confidence, which was the biggest bonus from the day I started that program to the day I completed it. I felt like walking out of the program, I actually felt like a business owner.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Well, kudos to you as well as to the Lift Fund program that were able to give you those classes and tools to help you shift your mind because you realize you weren't alone. And that's usually a challenge that most entrepreneurs have. They feel like they're in this silo and they're really not. And that particular program allowed you to see, oh, I'm not the only one. There is someone else like me. Oh, you have that problem too? I didn't know that. Well, oh, wow, we're in this together. Plus, then you also have a support system, a network. Correct.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, man, that is wonderful. So now my question to you is, when you're doing your hiring, what are your characteristics that you look for? That very first hire, what was that challenge like? That very first one. We know the reason why, because of the 80 visits that week, and it's like, I can't breathe, I can't sleep, I can't do anything. But how did you maneuver with that very first hire?
I think I honestly, I think I got really lucky with my first round of hires because I pretty much hired everybody that applied to work.
Oh, my. Okay.
So I had been following one of the industry experts, and they recommended a certain path of, have them. I made them jump through hoops, basically. We posted an ad on Craigslist, and our process is different now, but the first time we hired, we posted an ad on Craigslist, and then we asked them I emailed them a form. I think it was a 7 or 8 page form.
7 or 8 pages.
They had to print it out, fill it out by hand,
right,
and mail it back to me. Physically mail it to me.
Physically mail it to you?
Physically mail it to me.
You mean use a stamp in a post office?
Exactly.
It was not electronic?
It's not.
Oh my.
Yes.
And how many people did you get to do that?
5.
5.
And I said, you're hired.
Right, just because you were able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 5 people.
And I didn't even really put much thought into how it was going to work or how I was going to have enough work for all 5 people. I just said, well, we'll figure it out as we go.
All right.
It's much different now, but we're no longer asking for a mail out, but
yeah.
But we learned a lot along the way.
I'm sure. A post office, print out the letter. Okay, people, hear her. This is what you did or what she did the first time out. Okay, interesting. So what did you glean from that?
Well, there were definitely some takeaways. The job market today is very different than it was when I first hired my employees. And I understood the mentality behind making them jump through hoops. You wanted to weed out the folks who weren't serious.
Correct.
You just wanted the ones who were really serious, who wanted the job, because in pet sitting, everybody thinks it's playing with puppies. Oh, I just want to play. I don't want a stressful job. I don't like people. I don't want to do this. And unfortunately, that's not the case.
Not even close.
No, exactly.
It's like babysitting, but it's a 4-legged baby instead of a 2-legged baby.
Yes, there's a whole other side of challenges that we do face with that folks in traditional roles don't. So we wanted folks who wanted to take the job seriously. So we were able to, through multiple rounds of interviews and hiring that we've done since then, we've realized in today's job market we don't have the luxury of making them wait for an answer. If we don't give them a job offer right away, they're on to the next job.
Really?
I've had people leave a job interview, and I'll meet with my operations coordinator, we'll discuss and say, yep, okay, we agree, call her back within 1 or 2 hours, and she's already accepted another job offer.
Wow.
So we realized this because there are so many jobs available.
Yes.
People are just taking jobs as soon as they get the job offer. So the next hire, we made an offer on the spot before they left.
Really? That is a dramatic shift, isn't it? Because you see hiring and we're hiring or come work with us, and the selection now is great. It's not a very tight job market. It's a very loose one where people can pick and choose, cherry pick, so to speak. And it's like if she's interviewing with you or he's interviewing with you, more than likely he's interviewing or she's interviewing somewhere else.
Yep.
And they're weighing their options. And like you said, if you don't jump on it right then and there, amazing. So tell me about what the Women's Business Center is able to offer a new entrepreneur. I'm just starting out. I barely got my DBA. I don't even know what a DBA is. Can you help me with that?
Absolutely. So that's one of my favorite parts of the job, is helping folks navigate through what it means to start a business. What are the steps? How do you get your DBA, doing business as? Is that a good fit? Is an LLC a better fit? All of those questions, you can come to us and we'll guide you through those questions with our free business consulting services. They're free.
Oh, say that. Free 99?
Free 99.
Free 99. Okay.
And it's hard to find other resources that can offer free. There are plenty of wonderful business advisors out there, but not all of them are free.
True.
And so when you're starting out, we always tell businesses, keep your monthly expenses as low as possible.
Okay.
As low as possible. And that's a great way to do it. Get free business consulting. You also want to lean on mentors and people that you know that own businesses and glean advice from everyone around you. But that's one of the services, are free business consulting services. We also offer a lot of free workshops, and those workshops are very high value. We have a vetting process for our speakers, and they're usually industry experts in this local industry experts that volunteer their time. So that's another great way to get some excellent expert knowledge for free just by showing up and attending our workshops.
Okay. So you talked about, we're going to go back a little bit, you talked about the Women's Accelerator. Tell us a little bit more about that in the sense of you gleaned enough where it changed your mind. You actually came in, we'll say a novice business owner, and you left more assured, more confident business owner. How else did that accelerator help you?
The Business Accelerator opened my eyes to things that we as women business owners, some challenges that we deal with that are sometimes unique. Sometimes they're issues that affect men and women. But for example, imposter syndrome. That was, we spent a whole session talking about imposter syndrome and understanding what it is, how it affects women. It actually affects men as well. But it basically gave a name to the feeling that a lot of us in the room had. And they say, if you can name it, you can tame it. So once we all knew that this was, imposter syndrome, for example, is the sense of, I'm going to be discovered a fraud, I'm not good enough, or, it's that fear, that mentality of, you get a great new client and you're afraid that they're going to find out you're new at the business or you're not good enough.
Correct.
So it's how you just knowing that that's a thing, that it exists. Psychologists gave it a name because it happens, and that we all deal with it, and learning how to deal with it, and knowing you don't have to, when you do feel that way, you realize, oh, let me keep that in check. That's what's going on. So that's
kind of like that internal dialogue that the Women's Business Accelerator exposed, and it's like everybody probably had an aha moment. Yeah, oh, wait, that's what it's called. So that helped quite a bit, didn't it?
It did. It did. Yeah.
Excellent.
And we all shared our imposter syndrome moments, and there were some tears and some laughs. But it really brought us together because we realized we all had the same experience.
Now, is that Women's Accelerator program available still?
It is. So we run that program every year.
All right.
We'll be accepting applications in a few months. We usually run it a little bit later in the year.
All right.
And we generally review applications and see who's a good fit for the program, where they are in their business. Typically, we look for women who have been in business for at least a year, so they've got their feet wet. They've experienced some of the challenges, and they're already growing their business. And that, there is a fee for the program because we want to make sure that they have some skin in the game, that they're serious and they're committed to growing. But, everyone who's been through the program has walked away just blown away with the content and the quality of the speakers that we line up for them.
Excellent, excellent.
And we just, the program runs once a year.
Once a year.
And this is, I believe, this is going to be our 6th cohort this year.
All right.
So since we started this, we've been getting requests to do a follow-up program because the women love it so much. As soon as the program ends, you're like, well, what do I do now? My group is gone. How do I keep connection? And we've, they've tried to stay connected, but life gets in the way, and it's difficult to arrange times and be the coordinator. So we're piloting this year a follow-up to that, which will be a monthly meetup, a monthly mastermind peer group session to continue their process and their growth. And we'll do that for 3 hours every month so that they can continue to have that group.
And stay connected.
Yes, exactly.
Because then they can say, okay, well, I'm an alumni of this program. What have you been doing since you graduated?
Exactly.
I didn't know that. You still having that issue? I know. This is the issue I'm having now. Can you walk me through it? How can we talk about it and grow and learn and glean from each other?
Yes.
Excellent. That is marvelous. Well, I think that pilot program is going to take off.
Oh, I hope so. I am so excited. And the other purpose it serves is when you're in the size business that a lot of the women that come to see us are, which is a lot of them are under 100,000 in annual revenue. They're just starting out. They might have a service or a product-based industry. and a lot of times the other types of groups out there, the other type of business mastermind groups, typically, I mean, the smallest you can find is at a minimum you have to have $250,000 in annual revenue.
All right.
So what do you do in between that? How do you get there if no one wants to talk to you if
Below
you don't
that.
below that?
Right.
Exactly. So there was a big gap in the market for support, a peer-to-peer support, facilitated group experience for businesses under $250,000. So that's what we're trying to help grow.
Okay. Now, is this only in San Antonio, or is this going to be throughout the Lift Fund family?
Currently in San Antonio, we do have a women's business center in Dallas, so
All right.
we might pilot that out there, but that center is still really new. So.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, it sounds like you got a lot going on, Miss Zindy. It sounds wonderful. I mean, between being that woman-owned business and understanding the juggle, hustle, and struggle, and realizing some of the tools you needed or some of the help you needed to help you grow your business and take you from, we call it the minimal level, and taking you up to the stratosphere, you found some support through the Women's Business Center and Lift Fund. Excellent, excellent. Was there any closing comments, advice, or insight you'd like to offer our listeners today?
I would just like to remind them that they're not alone, that they probably have wonderful business mentors and resources all around them, and to not be afraid to ask for help, because a lot of people are happy and willing to help. So leverage those resources, read books. There are so many wonderful books out there. I highly encourage reading as many of them as you can. And
you mentioned one particular. That was what, the E-Myth?
The E-Myth, yes,
Okay.
by Michael Gerber. That's an excellent book.
E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Remember that, guys? E-Myth. They also have it in different industries too, because I believe there's one for accountants. Yes, I saw that. I was shocked. I was like, E-Myth for accountants? Really? Wow. But that's good. That's good. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk, hosted by David B Plemons, CPA Inc. We want to thank our guest, Zindy Infante, Director of Lift Fund Women's Business Center, for her insights into the supporting cast of small business. Join us next week as we host Lika Torline, founder of In the Weeds Natural Skincare. For more information about any of our guests, or if you have questions and comments, email us at admin@PlemonsCPA.com. And don't forget to check out our website, PlemonsCPA.com, for upcoming events and workshops. Have a good day.